He was vaguely aware of his bodyguards rushing to surround him, of the furious set to Sebastian's shoulders that indicated Mitya was in for another one of his cousin's lectures, but he didn't care. He was too busy drinking in the sight of the woman standing there in the rain. She was on the small side, not at all one of the many tall, svelte models he often fantasized about. He wouldn't be doing that ever again. She wore a suit, a flared skirt that showed off her shapely legs, and a short jacket that seemed to shape her waist, ribs, and the curve of her breasts to perfection. All white, not off-color or ivory, but actual white. The buttons were startling in that they were dark and shaped into cars. They made one want to look closer, which he found he didn't mind doing in the least. She looked vaguely familiar to him, but he knew if he'd ever met her, he would have remembered her. As he got closer to her, he realized the skirt and jacket had images of cars pressed into the material, so the fabric looked embossed. Her boots were the same dark color as the unusual buttons. Her hair was thick and dark, a glossy pelt shining in the flashlights playing over her. Her eyes were large and for a moment shone back at them almost red, but she blinked several times, enough that he barked an order to his men. "Stop shining the light in her face!" He was already taking the heavy tire out from under her hand, where she steadied it. "You will get dirty. Already you are soaked from the rain." "Thank you for stopping, but really, it isn't necessary. I have changed tires before." Her voice made his gut clench hotly. Hell, even his cock reacted. It was the way she sounded, husky, like sin in the night, whispers between two lovers. He wasn't a good talker under the best of circumstances. If she needed someone killed, he was her man, but trying to sound suave and sophisticated was far beyond any ability he had. Balancing the tire upright, he removed his suit jacket with one hand and tossed it to one of his bodyguards. He didn't even glance up to see who it was. He indicated her car or his. "You should get out of the rain." He tried not to sound like it was an order, but he had been giving orders for a very long time, so he was pretty certain by the expression on her face that it had come out that way. She looked more amused than angry, maybe a little confused. "To stay warm," he added gruffly, and turned abruptly away from her. "Boss," Sebastian hissed, "Miron can't drive worth shit, but he can change a fucking tire. Miron, get over here." "I can change her tire for her," Mitya snapped, embarrassed that she might think he couldn't. He wanted to stare at her for the rest of the night. He wanted his Leopard to keep up the strange behavior. He sensed that this woman, in some way, calmed the dangerous predator in him, and having that respite, if only for a few moments, after a lifetime of sheer hell, was a miracle. The woman's gaze jumped to Miron, and a small smile briefly curved her mouth, drawing his attention to it. She had the kind of mouth he'd fantasized over. Leopards were oral creatures, and he instantly became fixated on that perfect bow. He wanted her lips stretched around his cock, those enormous eyes looking right into his. The predator in his leopard might have turned playful, but that trait in him leapt to the forefront. He wanted to taste her, bury himself in her, claim her. Every possessive, jealous trait he hadn't known he had leapt to the forefront. "I've got it, boss," Miron said, and removed the tire from under his hand. Mitya gestured toward his town car. She hesitated, looking at the force of men surrounding them. Sebastian, thankfully, had put his gun away. Vicente and his brother Zinovi hovered close, but both had also concealed their weapons. The brothers were large and looked exactly like what they were, as did Miron. Sebastian appeared more civilized than all of them. None seemed as intimidating as Mitya. He looked to be a dangerous man. He carried himself that way without thinking about it. When one had been shaped into a weapon from birth, it didn't go away until one died. "I'm Mitya Amurov," he said. Again she hesitated, as if perhaps she'd heard of him. If that were so, he wouldn't have been surprised. It was no secret he'd been shot. The news articles had a field day, speculating whether or not he was part of a much larger crime family, and they would have been correct. At least, correct as...